Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you know, like Jerusalem, you know, like I think I think they probably had candles back then, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and they might have been invented a little bit before then. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I'm not sure when candles were invented.
A long time ago, mate.
But you know, what are candles made of?
Wax.
And oil.
Huh?
And oil.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think like, you know, like back then, you know, before candles, there was nothing. It was darkness. You know, and people used to just go to bed when it got dark, and got up, and the sun was basically the light. You know, and I think people used to be happier back then. You know, but now we're all relying on electric today. You know, and like if the electric went tomorrow, I think everyone would panic.
Yeah.
You know, go crazy, or not what to, you know, what would happen, you know, because it's like, you know, like...
Well, I think initially everyone would freak out and shit, you know what I mean? You'd have people overreacting and going crazy and going mad and going wild and, you know? But I think once people have got over that initial, you know, that initial shock and everything else that happens, that comes along with that, if you see what I mean, then people would slowly learn to adapt again, you know? You know, we'd have to learn how to cook our food out, you know, we'd have to cook our food and, you know, come up with different, you know, different ways and means of doing shit, if you see what I mean, you know? That's all it is, you know?
Well, apparently I saw this week that the first campfire was in Israel.
Okay.
Apparently. Whether that's true or not, you know, that's what, you know, but how can you tell? How can you tell where, you know, how old a fire is, you know, the funny way?
That's a bit of a strange,
I think sometimes, that's what I'm saying.
Strange one, mate. The internet,
that's what I think.
The internet is, yeah.
That's what I think sometimes when you hear things or see things, it's not worth believing it.
Well, you've got to research it if you're going to believe it.
Yeah.
You've got to research it because there's no point believing it if you haven't researched it because you don't know for a fact. You don't know for a fact whether or not it's a fact.
That's right, you know. That's right.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really. I'm not one of these. I think I've said it before. I never buy paper.
Yeah.
Paper, you know, and I just like to live a world really sort of free of all that.
Yeah.
In a kind of way, you know, you only live in this life once.
Yeah. True.
You know, so you know, I don't want to be reading a newspaper every day personally. You know what I mean? And then one day when I'm old, I'll think about all my memories of reading papers every day. Do you know what I mean? So you have got to be careful, I think, about what you do in your life, you know, and how you choose to play it.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to look at yourself as a little piece, you know, on a game, you know, like a Monopoly piece, you know, of some sort, you know, and this is a real game, you know, and you can play it in a clever way, I suppose, you know, sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it is like a game out there. You know, I think like even the game Monopoly, somebody invented it because she was so angry with the system.
Yeah.
She was so angry with the tax system and all this sort of stuff, alright?
Yeah.
So she come up with a game called Monopoly, you know?
Yeah.
Which is like, it is like the real thing almost, isn't it, you know? Like...
Who ends up with all the most land and houses and money wins.
Yeah, you know.
And that's kind of how society is today, isn't it?
Yeah, and on the Monopoly sort of box itself, it's got like a man with a top hat and a cigar in his mouth.
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Sort of,
yeah.
It's sort of like a capitalist game, isn't it?
That's it. That's exactly what it is, mate. A capitalist type game. Yeah.
Like it's, you know, like you could sort of walk out, go up the shop, and you could be at the wrong place at the wrong time where there's a fight going on, and somehow you sort of get involved somehow because you feel like helping for some reason, you know, and it could sort of like ruin your life, you know. All of a sudden you could end up in prison, you know, because of it. It's actually happened to my cousin once, you know. He was in London about 20 years ago, and he was walking past this fight, you know, sort of at late at night, whatever, and it's quite a big fight.
Yeah.
And all the police come along, and he got put away as well. He wanted nothing to do with it.
Oh, okay.
He was just walking past it. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
You know, but it ruined his life.
Sure.
You know, he got done for it or something, you know, because I don't know, you know, I wasn't there, but
he was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
He got in prison for it for 6 months.
Oh wow.
You know, and that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you could be in the wrong place, wrong time, wrong moment, you know, whatever, and someone's having a bad time.
You get caught up in some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a very dangerous world out there, you know, really, and it is kind of like a game. If you ask me, you know, it's like we got money, like plastic money in it, you know.
Yeah.
It is a game.
Well, talking about that, mate, I remember it just made me think about, just brought back a memory to me, and I remember one time I was chilling I was still living over in the Caribbean, right? And I was chilling on the block one day, and a matey that used to chill on the block with us that I was cool with, you know what I mean? We weren't close, but we were cool, if you see what I mean. We were, you know, still cool. And it was just me and him chilling. Everyone had gone in, you know, gone home to come back outside, you know, gone home quickly to have something to eat or whatever, come back outside and whatever. So we were just chilling, and he left his bag. He went home and he left his bag on the seat. Yeah, while we were chilling on the block. So he said, I'll be back there in a minute. I'm going home. I'll be back in 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, whatever. I'm just going to go and get something and come back, whatever. So I'm just chilling there on my phone, whatever, texting a little, you know what I mean, a little, you know, one of my girlfriends at the time, just, you know, texting back and forth, whatever, chatting, whatever. All of a sudden, the police pull up into the community, come round by the block, because they know they know that we're usually like round there chilling, having a beer, having a few joints, whatever, chilling out, whatever. And they're usually just trying to patrol and make sure everything's calm and cool and whatever. And you know, occasionally they might try to jump out and you know and try
to do their job,
try to catch you for smoking a spliff and lock you up. You know, take you to prison for smoking a joint. You know,
trying to do a job.
But yeah, but this time I was chilling, like I was saying. Police came around the corner, came on the block, got out of the van, came down on the block, came down through the little track, down into the bush, you know what I mean, where the block was, where everything was set up. And I was sitting there. They found matey's bag, open up the bag, and there's a bottle of brandy in the bag, and a ½ ounce of weed in the bag. Or an ounce. I can't remember if it was a ½ an ounce or an ounce, but it doesn't matter. That's still an arrestable offence in the Caribbean, if you see what I mean. They're going to send you up the road for a couple of months.
Yeah. You
know what I mean? You're going to get a couple of months and then you might get bail, if you see what I mean, for that little charge and have to pay a fine or something, or, you know, whatever, you know? But yeah, they basically wanted to accuse me and say that the bag on the bench on the opposite side where I was sitting belonged to me. Yeah, so they took me down, put me in handcuffs, put me in the back of the Jeep, took me down to the police station with the bag. At this time I was still a minor. I think I was about 15, yeah? 15, 16, yeah, just left school. And yeah, they tried to pin this bag on me, you know what I mean? But the whole time, the only communication that I said was, it's not mine, and I don't know who it belongs to. Simple as that. It is not mine, and I don't know who it belongs to. Simple as that. Nothing else. So when they came, and they had to ask my mum, because obviously I was still a minor, so they had to contact my parents, which is obviously, I grew up with only my mum, so my mum had to come and get me, yeah, if you see what I mean, you know. They asked my mum, is this his bag? And as soon as she saw the bag, she said, nope, it's not his. She said, he's got a similar bag, but it's not his. This bag is not his. He's got an orange version of this bag, but this is the purple version of that bag, if you see what I mean, because it's quite a popular bag at the time, you know. I had the orange one and he had the purple one. And my mum said, no, it's not his, you know, so they had no choice but to let me go.
That's another thing important.
You know? I didn't say a word, bruv. Because how I was brought up, bruv, is that we don't snitch, you know what I mean, you don't say nothing, you know, I don't know nothing about nothing, I didn't see nothing, I didn't hear nothing, you know, I was not present.
That's what's important as well, though, isn't it? Like,
sometimes no communication is the best communication.
that's right, it's true.
In those kind of instances, don't say shit. I ain't know shit about shit.
That's right, yeah. Like, I mean, that's what's another thing that's important is communicating with the police, you know, or understanding your rights.
It's no event to shut up.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Like I say, one thing, you know, what I've learned about the police, all right, they're not, you know, they're not really your friends, you know. And one thing, sort of thing, if you haven't committed a crime, don't give them your name, because you know it go in their little book and it could be a court case, you know. You know, and you could be ending up in court.
Yeah.
You know, like I think, like as I say, I've said before, you know, I think I wish that more people in this world were a little bit more awake, you know, and a bit more educated, you know, a little bit more educated in such a way where everyone would be a lot happier.
Yeah.
You know, and I think happiness is education, really, you know, learning how to be happy, you know, communicating with the world, really, sort of like teaching people that don't know how to be happy, and kind of how to be happy, you know, but how to be happy with themselves is what's important, I think, you know, being happy with your own imagination.
Yeah.
The things that you've always done in your past, which is very important, I think, you know, like, have you been up to no good, you know, all your life, you know, do you know what I mean? It's nothing to be proud of, is it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I think, like, people generally need to be educated out there, you know, like, if I find people shouting out there or being rude, it's purely because they're not educated. That's what I think, anyway, you know, they just not had something's gone wrong in their schooling or parent, you know, whatever, for them to be like that.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, like you know, like if you see rude people out there, you try to avoid them.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
You know, and I think every wise person feels the same. You know, there is a lot of, unfortunately, there's a lot of stupid people in this world.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Lots of them. And
like you said, sometimes it's just ignorance or people who are uneducated, you know?
Yeah. You know, and I think sometimes it's...
But I haven't got the time of day for it, mate. I'm the type of person that I'm so polite and so respectful to people, bro, that like I'm always on some like positive energy and saying, I'm always, you know, always say hello and, you know, whatever, like, you know? But I'm not... Anytime people come to me like on that approach, mate, that kind of vibe, I'm like, nah, like, you know, I'll see you later. Like, you know, have a nice day, but I'll see you later. Like, you know, keep it moving. Like, you know.
You know, I've had friends, alright, that have been in my life that you think they're nice people, you know, whatever, and they smile, but they're having nasty thoughts about you.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't like people like that.
It's smiling in your face, but
just a waste of time, you know. Do you know what I mean? You know, some people get jealous of you or something, you know.
Yeah, it happens, mate. Happens.
And they're having nasty thoughts about you, but they're pretending to be a friend.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and they're the worst kind of people in your life, you know.
Definitely.
And I would give some advice to people that, like, if anyone is making you feel uncomfortable or making you feel unhappy, any of your friends, forget about them.
Yeah, distance yourself.
Get away from them. You don't need friends like that. You know, they're not your friends.
Yeah.
It's all right if I went up to Josh and said, "Look, I didn't like the way you spoke to that person over there," or whatever. You know, or you know, you can give criticism sometimes to people that you love, but you got to do it in the right way.
Yeah. You got to do it
in a caring way.
You got to do it with love, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, not like, without hurting that person.
Sometimes it's not always what you say, but how you say it. And your approach to how you approach the situation as well is very important as well too. Like the energy that you bring to the table when you're trying to address whatever it is as well. If you see what I mean, you know, you've got to come on like a positive vibe, like let the person know that you're not trying to be like judgmental or critical, but like, you know, I think you could have handled this better. Like, and I'm just saying that from a loving standpoint, if you see what I mean, like as a brother kind of thing, if you see what I mean. I'm just, you know, I've got your best interest at heart as my brother, so I'm trying to tell you that you know, you've done something wrong here, and I'm trying to, you know, correct you kind of thing. The same way that I would want that person to do the same thing for me if they saw me slipping up or stepping out of line or fucking up or whatever you want to call it, if you see what I mean. Like, get your shit together, bruv. Like, you know, I love you, bruv. You're my mate, but, you know, you're messing up. Like, get your shit together. You know, okay, mate. You know, thank you, mate. I needed to hear that. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, sometimes people need to hear that, don't they? If you see what I mean. Sometimes people need to hear that. Sometimes people need that really realistic wake-up call. If you see what I mean, where someone's just like brutally honest with them as a mate and said, mate, I love you, but you're fucking up right now. You know, do you need help? You know, is there any way that I can help you? You know what I mean? Or can I give you some advice or some guidance? Or, you know, if the person's got quite a bit of money, you might be able to say, okay, mate, here's a little something to get you, get you back on your feet. You know what I mean? Like, you know.
Like if you had a banana on your head.
Yeah.
Right, like a peeled banana on your head.
Mm.
And if I was a good friend, I'd say, look, Josh, you've got a banana on your head. And if I wasn't a good friend, I wouldn't tell him. And just sort of like, he'd have a banana on his head now and everyone would laugh. You know? But a good friend, like, if I'd say, look, you've got a banana on your head, but take it off because everyone on TV now.
Taking the piss out of me.
Just being honest, you know, sometimes honest.
Taking the piss out of me.
But sometimes honesty, you know, being honest with your wife, for instance, you know, whatever, your girlfriend, you know, sort of, sometimes it goes, sometimes being honest,
yeah,
you know, like, you can say the wrong thing, can't you?
Mate, sometimes, like they say, honestly, don't get me wrong, honesty is the best policy, but sometimes honesty isn't always the best policy, mate, in some situations. You know, sometimes, I don't even know how to explain it. Sometimes you...
I mean, it's like if you're going out with your girlfriend, alright, and she's got ready.
Yeah.
And she comes out with her dress, and you don't like it.
Yeah.
You know, and you're going out somewhere special.
Yeah.
And what, are you going to tell her you don't like it, or are you going to say she looks beautiful?
Yeah, of course. Especially if she spent a long time making herself look nice. Say she spent like an hour and a half, 2 hours, like some women do, mate. You know what I mean? Having a shower, doing her hair and makeup, you know, doing the hair.
But is it good to be honest and say, look, you look really beautiful, but that dress don't suit you?
No, I think in all honesty, mate, I think that's something as a man that you have to keep to yourself in that instance, if you see what I mean.
But if it's not making you happy.
No, I know, but
you know.
I think that the fact that they went through the amount of time and effort that they put into trying to make themselves look nice for you on that occasion as a man, that alone, like, you got to respect, if you see what I mean, because you know that they're putting that time and energy in because they're trying to impress you. They're trying to catch your eye that night. They're trying to, you know, trying to seduce you as a woman. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know, you might be, you know, she making herself look all nice and pretty, so that, you know.
So you're saying that she's had a shower, she's taken hours, whatever.
Yeah,
but
for
she
you.
puts this big bright orange dress. You've got to put sunglasses on.
Well, you might not be. That's what I'm saying. You might not be too overly happy with it, but if you know that, you know, sometimes you just have to. You know, it depends on the circumstance. You know, you're not going to want your woman to go out looking silly. But I'm just saying, if she's just wearing something that looks nice, but just because you might be not too fond of it doesn't mean, you know what I mean? It might, you know, she might like it, if you see what I mean. You know?
I think it pays to be honest. You know, like it depends how long you've been with your wife for one.
Yeah.
Right,
but you're not gonna allow your missus to go out looking silly. If you see what I mean, she's wearing something you can see clearly it doesn't look nice on her, or it's too big, or it's too small, or she looks not right in it. Then you're gonna say to her, like, then you know. I
can't go out with you because
no. You're gonna just say to her, love, like, there's, you know, like, you know, to be honest with you, you know, I love you. I don't want you to look out looking silly. I don't think it looks great on you. You know, there's all sorts of other stuff you've got in your wardrobe that suit you much more than this. You know what I mean? Why don't you?
Well, this is all to do with communication, really, isn't it?
But sometimes, like, not always, but sometimes, especially with women, like us men are not so much like that. We're more like we just get on with it. We don't, You know, but sometimes women will ask you, oh, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Like, what, do you think I should wear this tomorrow? Do you think I should wear that tomorrow when we go out? Or, whereas us men, we'll just go and pick out our closet. We're not, we're not asking anyone anything, or kind of, if you see what I mean, we're just going to go and get our, our boxers, our shorts, boxers, our socks, trousers.
We're pretty simple.
That's what I mean. Like, we just get on with it. We're not going to ask. We already got made up in our minds what we're going to sort out. If you see what I mean. But women like to communicate differently to us. If you see what I mean.
I mean, if you're going out for the night, my ex-wife used to take a couple hour getting ready.
Yeah.
No, I'd only take 10 minutes. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And I'm still waiting for her. Like, are you ready yet? We got on your head. Got all this to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, some women do take their times on themselves, don't they?
Well,
which is good.
Yeah.
I think everyone should take care of themselves.
Oh, definitely.
That's that.
As I say, for me, like, don't get me wrong, I'm one of these people that I take a good 20 minutes, half an hour to get ready. But that's purely based on the fact that sometimes I get in the shower and I might stand there for 2-3 minutes just waking up in the morning, you know what I mean, out of the shower, and then wash myself and obviously, get out, whatever, and then obviously I'll, relax, have a cup of tea quickly before I leave, and you see what I mean,
Yeah, and like.
But women I was gonna say my wife takes significantly longer than me. Not always, but sometimes, yeah.
Like I say, like if you get up in the morning, relax, have a nice shower, whatever, then you go to work, right? Everyone sort of look at you and think, they can see in the kind of way that.
I know, of course,
you know what I mean?
yeah. You're a clean person and shit. You look after yourself.
But somebody that's not, they don't look after themselves. You can see that too.
Yeah.
That's communications again. Like I think we said before. Like just simply sometimes just the way you look and take care of yourself. People can actually see.
Oh, well, of course, yeah. Yeah.
So that's quite important, really, isn't it? Sort of like. I think keeping yourself clean that's important to me.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in personal hygiene, mate. You gotta. Like sometimes people say to me like they take a shower like every 2 or 3 days, and like I'm just like personally I just couldn't do that. Like I have to have a shower every day, sometimes twice a day. If you see what I mean. Like don't get me wrong, in the Caribbean where it was much hotter, yeah. I was taking a shower at least 2-3 times a day, 2-3 times a day every day at least, because it's so hot.
Cool down.
It's it's so hot. After I take a shower in the morning before I go to work. By the time I've left work, mate, at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, like if I get to work at 6 o'clock and I finish at 3, I'm dripping because it's hot all day. I'm running around, busy doing all kind of different kind of jobs, whatever, busy doing all kinds of different stuff, manual, shit. But you sweat, you're drenched by the time you leave work, then you need another shower, and if you do go back out after that, then by the time you get home, you want to go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
You want to take another quick shower again too, because but yeah, I can't remember why I was.
Well, we're talking about communication, so.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Some people are just like, I don't know how. The whole personal hygiene thing, going back to what we were just talking about just now, then quickly, is you've got to look after yourself. You've got to make sure you at least have a shower every day, brush your teeth, twice.
Well, we even communicate with spells.
Yeah.
Like we don't think we do, but we do.
Yeah, some people do.
Like if you hadn't had a bath for 2 weeks and you went outside and worked in an office, people would come up to you and say, well, you'd smell.
Yeah.
And people wouldn't like you.
I used to work with a guy like that, mate, a few years ago. He would like to take a bath every 3 days and shit, And this mate he used to chain smoke too, and you know what I mean. So you can imagine too, someone he not changing clothes either. If you see what I mean, like you would just be like coming to work all the time the same way, for 3 days, 4 days in a row. If you see what I mean, on a trot. And he would just stink, mate, like just of like body odour and like fags and.
And you don't have to say a word. You don't have to
even
say
the rest, even where I was working, this was in a healthcare setting, yeah. And this guy, the residents that were living there at the place where we were working, were complaining about this bloke. If you see what I mean, like saying like someone needs to tell him that he needs to take a bath.
That's what happens in the end, isn't it?
Mm.
You know, normally like if someone's not bathing in an office of quite a few people, eventually somebody's going to tell him and somebody's going to complain about him, whatever, you know, without even saying a word really. You know, that guy or person that stinks, who's not looking after themselves, somebody's going to complain eventually. I know that, you know, do you know what I mean? People don't like people that don't look after themselves.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, that's why people don't want tramps in the office in the kind of way, you know, and they get left on the street.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Like there is two different worlds out there, isn't there? Like there's the world where you get thrown out of prison, where you're homeless, and there's the world of make believe and you got money, you know. Yeah.
It's true.
But I communicate. A tramp can quite easily communicate with Bill Gates.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You know, and you know, like I think we're all living in the same world. You know, we wake up, and you know, it's like the shutdown. That was a big communication to the whole world. Shut down. You know. Now it's everyone's problem, isn't it? In a kind of way, you know, like same war. You know. And I think that shutdown, that virus, whatever, you know, it kind of affects everyone in a different way, depending on who you are, or where you live, or whatever, or what job you were doing, you know. And maybe it's for the better, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, do you know what I mean? It's crazy, I think, you know, shutting down just like that. I think, yeah, that is...
that was all a simulation, mate.
Bit of a shock, isn't it? You know, like it's not like, I mean, if I was in government, right, and there was a proper disease out there, I wouldn't shut down like that.
Well, anyone that knows anything about anything has heard about something called Event 201. Yeah. Prior to all this shit happening, they ran an event with the idea of what would happen if a pandemic was to happen in modern day society, like in the very near future. And not long after that, what happened? Pandemic. You know, ain't that funny? So yeah, if you want to know, if you want to do more research into that, there's something called Event 201 that was funded through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation amongst one of these universities. I can't remember which one it was, but it was alongside a university as well. So yeah.
It's like pandemic.
Yeah,
panic.
Pandemic.
It's got a word in it. Yeah,
Panic. Causing panic. Yeah. They do all this shit on purpose, mate. It's all a fear-based agenda, you know? They want people to be operating at a low vibrational frequency.
So children used to play a long time ago, I'm telling you, yeah? Like ring the rose, whatever, you know, in the streets, playing football. Yeah. Even when I was younger, 50 years ago, or about 50 years ago, I used to sort of like be throwing a ball on the curb, and then my friend used to throw it back. And this is on the road, you know, and then sometimes a car would go past, alright, and we'd have to stop until that went past, and then we'd do it again, you know, do you know what I mean? There weren't many cars back then, do you know what I mean? And they just multiplied every 10 years in a kind of way, you know, do you know what I mean? And now it's, you know, like a monster, you know, machine cars sort of like buzzing, you know, you can even hear the buzz, you know, sometimes, you know, especially when you're coming towards a big city, you can hear the buzz of the sound even at night time, you know, like of machines going off or whatever. It's, you know, you can hear it. I can't explain it, but you know, there's definitely a noise pollution going on, let's put it that way. People are noisy today, you know, ambulances going by, alarms going off, even like cars, not cars, sorry, vans, when they turn left or right, or lorries, they go turn left.
Right, communication, isn't it?
Or, you know, I heard one.
But that is communication, but either sat through sound or through visual.
Yeah. You know, and I heard this sort of electrical I can't remember what it was, whatever, but it was reversing. It was going electrical reversing, you know, whatever, you know, advertising their company. You know, but I've got my bedroom window open, you know, laying down in bed and I can hear all this crap, you know. All I want to do is wake up and hear birds. You with me, yeah? But we're living in a world of alarms.
Well, I was going to say you would have to live somewhere quite remote, mate.
That's right.
Only have, there are places that you can live, you know what I mean, like that, but you'd have to live quite a remote place in this day and age to be able to.
The thing is, I mean, today, right, with the shutdown, apparently these remote places are really finding it very awkward.
Yeah.
You know, all these people that are living in the sticks, you know, they're finding it very difficult in this shutdown. You know, it's a lot easier really if you live in a city in a shutdown, you know, because there's, I suppose there's more shops or whatever, you know, do you know what I mean? But people are struggling out there in the sticks at the moment. But yeah, it's less noisy in the sticks, you know, and a lot more peaceful, and you can really use your imagination a lot more, you know, and actually use it without any distractions whatsoever, and, you know, you with me? And think better as a human being, you know, and I think that's what we've all lost, really. The ability to think as a human being like we used to.
Oh, definitely. I agree with that.
And I think we've lost a lot of our abilities because of it. Right? We kind of get angrier with each other a lot more in this world we're living in today.
I think what's happened, we've become less and less in touch with nature.
Yeah.
As obviously, I think from early times, like you said, like when people were like back at one point, I think people used to be able to communicate telepathically. You know?
Yeah, I think there's a bit more magical in the sky and the atmosphere, you know, and as I say...
I think people have more senses as well. People, like today, we only have 5 senses, or we're kind of restricted. Everything that we perceive is based on our 5 senses. All the information and knowledge and everything else that we perceive and consume and is you know, broken down by our 5 senses and perceived through that. But I think back in the days they had more than 5 senses, you know. I think they had a lot more, you know.
Well, I think the 6th sense is the 6th one.
I think they were more in tune.
The 6th one is the imagination, and it's the one that it just basically it's aware of everything, really, of everything that's happened in a kind of way, you know.
Yeah.
The 3rd eye, I think it's a 6th sense anyway, but like there's more senses that I think that I believe that we've kind of lost. You know, like say, you can imagine a long time ago children used to play more happier or whatever, and their imaginations used to be more open. But today now we're sort of like, you know, getting annoyed a little bit here and there or whatever, or we're not enjoying the world we're living in the kind of way, you know, we're all living in the monster around us in a kind of way, and there's nothing anyone can do about it, you know, it's just the way things have gone.
Living in the belly, what was it they say? Living in the belly of the beast or something like that.
Yeah. You know, and I think somehow the human being, you know, all around the planet has made this machine somehow, you know, it's just naturally sort of happened over the last few thousand years in a kind of way, you know, it's just evolved this way.
Yeah.
Into a nasty machine.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, like even the Queen herself, I think she's quite a lovely lady, really, you know, and you know, she's born into this world just like everyone else, you know, just like me and you, and she didn't really choose her parents, did she? Do you know what I mean? She was just there, and everyone told her to be queen. You know, do you know what I mean? It's not her fault. I don't think it's anyone's fault, whether you're rich or poor, or even if you're Bill Gates, it's not your fault or him.
No, but at the same time, we're not talking about him. No one's accusing him for being him. We're accusing these people for doing fucked up shit to humanity.
I think the trouble is there's a lot of
we're not accusing them for being who they are as a person. We're accusing them for their actions. What they're choosing to do with their money and their power and their influence, the shit that they're trying to do, you know what I mean?
Well, I think there's a lot of narcissistic people about, again. You know, so many of them about.
Yeah, a lot of them.
You.
Yeah.
You know, I think like, you know, even when you get in a car, you'll becoming that in a funny way. You know, you're not become compassionate anymore in a kind of way. You know.
Yeah.
It's like I have got a lot of compassion inside me. You know, for insects, animals.
Yeah.
And I think like a lot of people they drive, they lost that. You know, and they become inhuman.
Yeah.
In a funny way, you know. And I think years ago we used to be more human,
Yeah.
more magical a little bit. Not all people, you know. Some people used to. There's a lot of people that weren't educated.
True.
Children that couldn't read or write back then, right? Yeah. And I think the people that were educated back then, you know, the people that could write letters, would take advantage of all these people.
Oh yeah.
And that's the way it's always been in a kind of way, you know, where like even our schools today. I mean, we've spoken about schools before, you know, about no philosophy in schools. It's like the high up authorities, whatever, want to keep people dumb.
Exactly.
They don't want children to have an imagination. You know, they know that we've got imaginations, but they're trying to sort of control people in such a way that they've only got very little imaginations.
Yeah.
You know, they don't want you to know the secret about how powerful the imagination is. You know, it is, like I say, you know, it's so powerful. It's
a lot of time in school, they're not teaching people how to become their own boss.
No.
How to be an entrepreneur.
No.
The large majority of the curriculum and everything else that they're learning is based upon them becoming a worker, if you see what I mean, based on them going to school and getting a degree to do something and becoming a worker, a part of the workforce, if you see what I mean, the everyday workforce. You know, they're not teaching people, you know, entrepreneurship and, you know, how to build a company, or, you know, different shit like that, you know, different, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
They don't communicate with children, I don't think, to give them power.
Not guiding them in the right way, you know. Got to start educating kids not only on, of course you want your kids to be literate and to have a good education, we all want that, but at the same time there needs to be other things added to the education, more real life shit, like letting kids know, from the time kids get a certain age, I think we should be educating them on what life is really about, like this is what is expected of you, and you know, this is what it takes to survive in the real world, and this is, you know, the kind of money you want to be earning in the world to survive and have a good life, have a comfortable life, and you know, all the shit that you need to take care of as an adult when you become an adult. You know, just I think the earlier that you prepare the children for adulthood, you know what I mean, in some regards, not all regards, but in some regards obviously, the better, because they know what to expect when they get older, they know what to do, they know how to handle shit, you know, how to take care of shit, how to, you know, whatever, you know, it's, you know, the earlier the better, you know, so but when that time comes, they know what to do, you know, so, yeah. Better to be prepared, innit, you know?
I think like, even like, you look at TV, when it first come in, sort of like early, I think it's before 19th century, yeah, late 18th, I think it come in TV. You know, now, you can imagine, right, so you had one camera invented and they made one film and they put it on TV for everyone to watch, and everyone was absolutely amazed, you know, even though it was in black and white at the time, you know.
Yeah.
So this was a new business for everyone, you know, like, hey, you know, let's buy new, you know, and it kind of rocketed off, you know, and then they built a studio, and now there's lots of studios about, you know, big major film studios or whatever, you know. But when TV first was invented, whatever, you know, it just gave the key to everyone today, for instance, that are famous, whatever, on TV. It just made a business for that, basically, you know. Everyone got famous and got on stage because the TV was invented, you know. So it created a new world stage, basically, for everyone to watch on TV, you know. And there's, like I said, there's a lot of people on the world stage today, you know.
Definitely.
And it is a new thing, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you can imagine sort of like you go back thousands of years ago, they did used to have stages, I think, in Greece and things like this, you know, the Roman times, all that, where they used to go on stage and tell thousands of people what to do. But now we've got TVs, you know, and it's giving a market for people to make their own films, people to make their own, you know. So there's a lot of people in this world today that are in the acting business, you know, which is really not needed, you know, in a kind of way, you know. It's a new... It's like games. It's like games.
Just an entertainment, isn't it?
Well, it's like games. When they invented games, you know, when computer games come in, alright, everybody wanted them. And then they invented more, Nintendo this or whatever, and then they went up and up, you know, until the PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, you know. Do you know what I mean? And today there's probably making more.
I think the newest one, yeah, is the PlayStation 5. I think
that's it. You know, do you know what I mean? And it's still, you know, next 10 years time it'll be PlayStation what? You know,
whoever knows. Who knows?
I mean, Windows 11 just come out, isn't it? Apparently, you know.
I think so. Yeah.
You know, I just found out. You know.
Yeah.
So all these things are always, you know,
improving.
The world's kind of getting more modern in a funny way, you know.
Yeah, definitely. So, mate, any final thoughts or any last words on, you know, the topic of this week's discussion, which is communication?
Well,
any final words, any final thoughts, mate, before we call it a night? And
I know that since the day I've been born, and now I'm 56, my communication skills got a little bit better since then.
Yeah.
You know, and that's all it's about, really. And it's important to have good communication skills, and it's important to, when you say something, before you say it, make sure it is good communication before you say it. Is that right? Or shall we start again?
No, it's fine. No, it's good. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. Like he said, you know, communication is very, very important. And like we said earlier, not just to reiterate, it's not always what you say, but how you say it. And sometimes it's the approach as well.
And it's not necessarily anything to do with speaking, it's how you look as well.
Exactly, you know. There's various different forms of communication, and we all do it, and we all experience these various different forms of communication every single day of our lives, if you see what I mean, every single day of our lives, you know. So yeah, you know, it's very vital, it's very important component of our lives as humans, you know, communication, and you know, helps us to understand and to grow and to evolve and to share ideas and to come together and work for a greater and brighter and more advanced and, you know, whatever type of, you know, great better future, you know. Well, sometimes, not always, because you've got some people who are in power that do some fucked up shit, but as we know, but yeah, you know, communication is so important, you know. It's how we, you know, it's sort of, you know, it's how we learn, you know. That's the human evolution. The human evolution in terms of learning is a continuous process, you know. No matter how much we learn, how much knowledge we gain, we're always learning more and more each day, you know, always, you know. So, yeah, it's just vital, you know. We all need to learn. We all need to learn how to communicate better and how to, you know, share. Not be afraid to share our ideas and thoughts and concepts with people, and, you know, to bounce ideas off people and, you know, get their thoughts and opinions on things, because, you know, sometimes, you know, it's, you know, sometimes teamwork is, you know, what makes the dream work, you know. Sometimes you can't always just be an individual. Sometimes, you know, sometimes it takes a team to make.
It's like me and you do this, what we're doing right now, you know.
Exactly.
I don't think I'd be able to do it without Josh, and
yeah.
Josh wouldn't be able to do it without me.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can, you know,
it's
like,
a two-man show.
I mean, sometimes you can do this on your own. Yeah,
Oh, you
I
can.
think,
Yeah, you can do. You can
some
do
people,
for sure.
Some people do, don't they? But I think it's slightly better when there's two of you a little bit, because you sort of like,
Yeah.
you might say something, and I think, you know.
It's a dialogue, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a dialogue.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. We're
we bounce off each other.
Yeah, we're bouncing ideas off
Yeah.
each other. You know, it's a dialogue. You know, so it's
Yeah.
yeah.
So.
Yeah. So any last any final words, mate? Can we call it a night?
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
of course. Always that. Always that.
I hope you learned a little bit, you know, from what we're talking about, you know, because we're kind of learning from what we're talking about too.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's a journey for us, and hopefully it's a journey for you guys too. You know, that you're going to embark with us on this journey with us. You know, as the philosophy podcast. You know, so.
We don't know what we're going to be talking about next week. We'll have to find out.
Well,
but that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
And it'll be interesting because we'll know a little bit more by next week.
Oh, of course.
A little bit more, you know, and we'll be more interesting.
Yeah.
And more funny to watch.
Yeah, definitely.
Be a laugh.
Yeah.
Right then.
That's it. Okay, guys. Thank you for tuning in once again to another episode. Thank you for tuning in to the Philosophy Podcast. I am your host, Controversy. This is my co-host,
Darren Love.
Together we are the Philosophy Podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. Stay tuned for more content as always, because new episodes are continually coming each and every week for the foreseeable future from now onwards. Please like, comment and subscribe to the channel. And if you've liked any of the content or anything that we've been talking about, or you've got any thoughts or ideas in regards to anything that we've said tonight or on this week's episode or previous episodes, then please leave a comment down below. And
communicate with us.
That's it. That's voila.
Bang.
Beautifully said, mate. See, listen, that was perfect. You see what he just said? Yeah?
Communicate with us.
That's it. This week's episode was all about communication, and he summarised it in one. Have a good night. Stay blessed. One love. Peace out. Good night.
And communicate.
That's it. Bang!